It's gonna be kind of a quiet stream. I'm just gonna get right into it because I'm really just testing stuff out. Hope you guys are having a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's Blake for the Little Regret channel. Just doing our usual thing. Except we're not just doing our usual thing. Just changed that 7 to a 4. We're still playing the same Gran Turismo, but we're going to be doing a playthrough of the Gran Turismo mode on here, just trying to get to 100%. And today is the first stream event. I've done some testing on here. I got some stuff together. And we're finally working. So I'm going to try and see if we can get through this entire race without too many issues. So I flip over and wait for this thing to actually hit HDMI. We'll get the race over and done with. But it's not too different because we actually have the steering wheel working. Oh, goodness. Shit went entirely black. But we do have steering, we do have force feedback, we do have all of those things on GT4, and this is a first for me, so I never got to experience a game quite like this way back when. And I think it's going to make it a fair bit easier in some cases. But easy ain't what it's going to be right now. Still got a very long night ahead of us. We're doing the 1,000 miles race, which means we're going to be knocking in 200 and change on the Nürburgring tonight, 25 laps. So, roughly 300 miles on its own. It's going to be a very challenging race. But fortunately, we didn't get the AC Cobra to show up, so we should be okay. We're only going to be racing 5 other cars. See how the field goes. This car's kind of unstable once you get up to 5th gear, though. It really doesn't like those kind of speeds. In case you were wondering, we're in the Ginetta G4, or Ginetta G4, whatever you want to call it. Actually can't really see it past the steering wheel icon, but it just kind of is what it is. Even got hooked up to my sequential shifter that isn't my paddles, is doing the shifting just as well, though my paddles are still functional. I can flip between either of them depending on what I'm feeling like. Carousel there is a little bit finicky, particularly on a car of this ilk. I'll change 2 things really quick. Just forgive me. I can't do anything more than that. It's really not borderless, but whatever. Keep forgetting if I ever hit the gas pedal, that is effectively confirm input in the menus, and brake is deny. The car is still very unsteady. It's easy to build a gap, but it's also easy to make that gap disappear just by driving poorly. Also, I get the feeling this video is gonna get copyright stricken or something, and if it does, oh well. I'm ready to make peace with that. I would literally rather have the video get taken down for copyright than go through and have to freaking roulette and not get the AC cars, or not get the AC Cobra again. I think it's the bane of my existence right now. see. Force feedback is kind of stronger than I expected, though. Like, it feels perfect. Nuance, it's actually got quite a bit of detail, but it's weird. Didn't expect to be working as well as it is. Also, I think this track really put it into perspective just how limiting only 6 opponent cars was on the track, because the track is just so big that any performance disparity will become spread out over time. Well, we haven't burned off any fuel yet. Tires are still bedding in, really. I haven't even gotten green yet. So we got a long race ahead of us. Probably be doing 5 or even 10 laps at a time before we go into the pit. We'll see. Really starting to put quite a lead on them. They're gone. I'm just thrilled to be able to play some GT4 again, honestly. In a way that I'd never really been able to before. Super cool. As that's 1 lap down, time was on 9:40, so I think we can improve that quite a bit. Not that it matters, we just need to kind of hold a steady pace. And our car is comfortably fast enough to do it. If this wasn't GT motherfucking 4, I would care a little bit more about having an interesting race, but right now I just want to get through the game. So. Because I think in terms of like capturing everything the series was envisioning to and trying to accomplish from its original vision and mission statement, this is the swan song of the series. There aren't things that later games haven't done better. There's a lot of things that later games have done better, but I think this perfectly encapsulates the original vision, where there's still some whimsical nature about the game, but in general it's very polished, it's very full, it's got a lot to give, but it also has its fair share of jank. And the difficulty is still very much intact. In a lot of ways, artificial, but not purely artificial. Like there's some substantiation to just how hard this game is, just on merit. Like even controlling this car, just at a, it's not like a ridiculously challenging car, but I'm having to drive it on the pedals, like way more than I thought I was going to have to. Does it feel amazing? No, but it feels like a pretty good approximation. Like I'm having to use my capabilities and skills to wheel the car around here. And it's translating pretty well. Like I'm not having to like try and really filter a lot of my inputs. It feels like the car's got 900 degrees of steering and rotation, and I can use that to my advantage and benefit. Kinda wish I didn't have a steering wheel in the center, but it'll work. It almost looks kind of cartoonish with the steering wheel like this, if you ask me, but go for it. There we go, we find lots of data fuel. So if that's anything to go off of, we might have enough fuel for like 8 to 10 laps. we're below 90% fuel now. We know that much. So we've lost 10% of our fuel within about a lap and a half. That really is telling me there's a very real chance we might be able to do this race on like 2 stops, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. And I would play those odds against the AC Cobra, but there's a very good chance that it would build up more gap in a pit stop than we would be able to recover in a lap. Or it would build up more gap in a lap than we'd be able to recover over a pit stop. And we'd probably only be pitting every 3 laps or so. Which I say only, that's actually a pretty reasonable amount of time for a car of that, caliber. I think we also are pretty confident that the rear tires are going to be the first to go, not the fronts. Which means as soon as that starts to happen, we're going to go ahead and bring the car in. Part of me wants to do this for A-Spec points, but the other part of me is like, A, it's not going to be that many A-Spec points, it's like 9 tops. So it's really not super valuable for my A-Spec skill level. Which I don't even know why I would care so much about that. And I don't think I'm going to get any director skill if I like split, mishmash this between like A-Spec and B-Spec, but I'm going to mishmash this between A-Spec and B-Spec. But for the interest of the race and also for my own sanity, I don't see any reason not to. Even if we can make it 5 or 6 laps on tires, there's no reason for me to try and push that hard and just do the entire race myself, because that's senseless. That's the thing, it's so deceptive on here. Part of it's the character of the car that I'm driving, the other part is definitely down to how the carousel is modeled on here. It like has a much higher propensity to spit you out. Trying to kind of continue to deduce my way around here as best I can. Some of these curves are really just monsters, especially in this little Ginetta. Yeah, I'm super thrilled to have the steering wheel working and all that. It may not sound like it, it's just that it's late at night and I'm tired. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I just couldn't sleep all that well. So I started fiddling, started messing around, and here we are. Car's gigging. Oh, I'm not gigging, but the car's gigging. So yeah, you can see the rear tires are getting real bright green now. So they'll eventually start to go to more of a yellow color. I imagine we're only going to have about 6 laps of usefulness out of them. And the front tires aren't even like full green yet. Kind of that deep. You can see the field's already spacing out pretty well. It's probably like 5 or 6 seconds just from second to third. 8 between third and fourth. Another few between fourth and fifth. And you can see how far back sixth is. It's pretty bad. had to resort to opening a Coke on that back straightaway. So I've already been going for almost 20 minutes. You guys probably missed the first 4 or 5, but there's no difference to me. That was almost 25 seconds faster just on that lap alone. Alright, okay. Car's working. You start to overdrive it, you really burn up the tires, and you don't really get much faster either. So just try and use as minimal of steering inputs as you can. This car is really well balanced in terms of weight. It does want to really rotate almost on like a center line more than around a engine that's in front. Feels like it's front midships. Yeah, it's like there, you steer a little too much and it really starts to step out on you. Let's get that weird kind of like late aligning. It's like almost like the signal for the force feedback is just like delayed so much that like it's just waiting to return. So they're like pushing a little bit past center once you let it go. To encounter traffic with this Fiat eventually. And like there's one thing I will say is that for all the shit of driving this little slow thing, it is very, very nicely balanced. And there's a logic to driving it. It's just kind of magical. It just makes sense. Everything about it just kind of makes, like, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. Like, it's super responsive in a I don't have a whole lot of grip kind of way. It feels like this is exactly where it wants to and should run, and it's kind of, it's nice. It takes me back. It takes me back in time, both to be nostalgic for a time that I never lived in, and also for a time when I was playing this game when I was young. Yeah. The only annoying part is that that gap is already growing so much. The other thing is I feel like the Nürburgring has changed so much. Like, this game is 20 years old now, which is nuts. But this track has changed so much in that amount of time. But I feel like a lot of that also happened between like 2004 and 2010. But I'm not certain. I don't know that fact. It's just the gut feeling I'm getting. mind me. Also not sure if that's in shot. It wasn't necessarily meant to be. But if it was, that's hilarious. Yeah, it just turned in a